Hello and welcome to this episode of Rigging Doctor. We are going to be helping you out today by getting you ready to go cruising all on your own.
So you just got yourself a new boat, you're mentally ready to go, but what do you really need to make the boat actually ready to get going?
So we're going to provide you with a general checklist of how to prepare to go cruising. This is going to be applicable to long-term cruising or short-term cruising.
Coastal or blue water. Whatever you're going to do, this is going to cover it.
And we have a slew of videos that we're going to be referencing in this video, so you will see the links to all of those in the description down below. You've got your boat, you just need that little extra push of confidence to be able to push off the dock and go on your very first cruise. Here's what you're going to need to do before you can make that happen.
The first thing you need to do is check your rigging. If you don't know how to do it, you can easily hire a local rigger to come out and check your standing rigging and your running rigging. Have them take a look and see, is everything ready to go? And if anything isn't, just have it replaced. Don't go with questionable rigging. Just start off with a clean slate.
If you want to be able to do this yourself, you can go ahead and order the book that Herbie wrote himself called The Rigging Handbook.
It's available on Barnes & Noble.
And we'll link to that down below as well. The next thing you're going to need to do is make sure all of your sails are up to date.
Yeah, if your sails are over 10 years old, replace them. Even though they look good, they're worn. And it's such a huge difference having good sails versus having sails that are present. So start off with good sails. As you go cruising, you're going to blow out your current sails, but at least you're starting off with good sails, so you start off on a good foot, making good time, and having a good time when you're sailing.
There's going to be a common thread during this whole video that you'll notice, and that is safety. So everything we're telling you today has to do with making sure that you have the safest experience cruising that you possibly can. New sails, updated rigging, all very important for safety. The other thing that's important for safety is the more obvious safety gear. Make sure that you are outfitted with all the latest safety gear, most importantly, a life raft and life jackets.
Now when it comes to flares, fire extinguishers, all that, it's really easy. The Coast Guard makes these handy checklists that tell you if your boat is this big, you need to have this. And having that as a minimum is a great start. If you want to have more than that, excellent. And the really important part about having what they think you need to have to be safe is when they pull you over and check, they are checking for that. So an important thing with that, having the fire extinguisher doesn't count if you don't know where it is. So when they board you and say, "Where's your fire extinguisher?" and you go,
You're gonna get a fine.
It's a big one. So have your safety gear, make sure it's new, and then you're ready to go.
You can put a lot of this safety gear into what we call a ditch bag. A ditch bag is something that's really important to have, especially if you're doing an overnight sail. And it's basically a duffel bag that's easily accessible, and you know exactly where it is, and it's got all the essentials in it that you would need if you need to really quickly get off your boat and into that life raft.
Yeah, when you're ditching your boat, you don't want to be thinking about, do I have all, the boat's papers, the registration, our passports, like all those things. You don't want to think about it. So put all of those in the ditch bag. So all you have to do, EPIRB, flares, all of those go in the ditch bag. So one, if the Coast Guard stops you for an inspection, everything is in the ditch bag. It's easy to show them all that you got everything there. And two, if you're ditching the boat and everything's a panic because it's going down quickly, just grab one bag. Off you go.
Your brain isn't always working perfectly when you are panicking, so it's really helpful to have that bag and know exactly where it is.
Yeah, in our case, we keep the ditch bag right next to the life raft because if you're using one, you're using the other.
You can access a link to our video all about safety gear right here. This next one might not seem as obvious, but it is really important, and that is your ground tackle. When you're pulling into unknown harbors or even just anchoring in the middle of a bay, you're going to be needing ground tackle.
Yeah, this means you need a good anchor and lots of anchor road.
Make sure that you have done the math and you are anchoring with at least 4-to-1 We always do 7 to 1.
4 to 1. That's short.
Yes.
Yeah, at least 5 to 1.
Please.
Well, yeah. Yeah, the people around you will be glad that you anchored with enough scope, because otherwise you'll be very close friends. Very close.
Or enemies.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you're choosing an anchor, make sure you do your research. We personally love our Mantis.
Yeah, and Mantis Marine actually has excellent information to help you size the anchor accordingly based on the length of your boat and the displacement of your boat. So our choice, what we do in order to sleep comfortably at night, knowing that our anchor is going to hold rock solid, is we size it on the storm anchor weight of the dry boat, not the loaded up going cruising version, because that anchor is just so heavy. Now remember, a bigger anchor means that you sleep better at night, but you also have to pull that sucker in the morning. And if it's a huge anchor,
if you're like
heavy.
us and you don't have an automatic windlass.
Yeah, yeah, we have a manual windlass, so I know how much that sucker weighs because I have to crank it in. So having the storm anchor for the dry version of your boat means that you'll have a huge anchor for cruising.
It's also really helpful to have a second anchor in the stern, just in case you don't have any swing room or you need the extra anchor because it's a really crazy rolly night. You want to be able to set up a mooring at any time. We also have a video on how to set up a mooring. All of these things are really important to practice beforehand. So if you are setting off to go cruising for the first time and you've never used your anchor before, I recommend just going out a little ways from your slip and dropping anchor just to practice. Make sure it holds.
Yes, just going out and having an overnight. It can literally be in the next harbor over. Like, you don't have to go far. Just practice it out, try things, see what works, what doesn't work, and then fix when you come back to your home port, back to your slip.
And that leads us to another important thing that you can do before setting off on a long passage or long-term cruising, and that is a
Shakedown cruise.
Trial run.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did this. We are lucky enough to be on the Chesapeake Bay. So we did a month sail in the Chesapeake Bay to make sure that we were confident sailors and make sure that all of our systems worked.
And also make sure that we could ration our water well to go a month without needing to fill up the tanks.
Yeah, these are all things that we were practicing, and we were also having a blast while we were at it. What it did is it built up our confidence, and it showed us that if we can be out living purely in our sailboat offshore for a month, then we'll be okay. We can handle anything. And we could. So we recommend a Shakedown cruise. Now, we did just mention water. Let's talk more about that.
So, as they always say, you need food to live, but you need water to survive. So you have to have enough water on the boat. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. So
water is another really important thing to have in your ditch bag.
If you have a water maker, that's great. You're able to fill up your water tanks, but you want to make sure that the water you have in your tanks, which is the water you currently actually have, not the water you potentially have, is going to be enough to last you. So you want to know how to ration your tanks accordingly for the amount of time that you plan on sailing. If your plan is to only do 1 week hops or 2-day hops, make sure your tanks are enough to last for that period of time. If you want to do really long runs, plan accordingly.
You will find that you'll need to learn how to ration water quite strictly, especially if you are doing an ocean crossing or even a 10-day passage. Having drinkable water is more important than taking a shower. So you'll find that maybe showering once or twice a week is going to be enough for you. Some people take saltwater showers. We're not fans of that because then it makes the interior of the boat all salty and gross, and then mildew can form in your bed and in awful places.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. I know a lot of people do it, but don't do that.
Yeah. So we always prioritized having drinking water over having washing water. That being said, we washed our dishes and everything, but the sink was barely turned on. So you'll learn that kind of stuff when you're doing your trial run. We have made a video for you all about whether or not you should have a water maker. Now we have an electric motor, so solar power is so important for us. but it's also important for people without electric motors.
Yeah, your refrigeration, if you have a water maker, all those systems, everything runs on electricity. So that means you need a way to generate your own electricity. And while your alternator from your diesel's a very reliable, powerful system that can just crank out the amps, it's loud and it stinks and you have to buy diesel for it. So it's really nice to have passive methods that just make power all the time, while you're at anchor, while you're sailing, while you're not even thinking about it.
So think about your solar real estate, think about your budget, and this is something that you can even add on to while you're cruising. So you don't necessarily need to have an entire solar array as you set off for the very first time. We built our solar system throughout the 5 years that we were cruising full time. It grew and grew.
Yeah, our first one was 100 watts, then 300 watts, and then 1400 watts. So as you go, you can figure out where you can put them and also determine, do I even need more? Because you might be able to live on less power than you thought you did because you learn how to ration your electricity.
So don't overthink it. Start small, see what you need. If you need more, you can always get more along the way. And Herbie mentioned diesel motors, which brings us to the next thing that you need to make sure is completely functioning, and that is your motor.
Have a mechanic take a look at it. Have a good friend that knows what he's doing take a look at it. Make sure that your motor is sound and ready to roll, and if it isn't, either replace the engine or get it fixed up. But you don't want to go out with a wonky engine that's, on its last leg.
On the fritz.
Yeah, on the fritz when you go out and you're planning on cruising and depending on it, especially if you're going to depend on it for your power.
Now it is important too, with your motor and all of these other systems on your boat, that you know how to fix them, because things will go wrong and you will end up needing to fix things on your boat.
Yeah, it's really, really helpful if you built the boat, because all you need to do is keep all the tools that you built the boat with on the boat. That's what we did.
But that's not normal.
No,
so
it's not.
If you are one of the majority who bought their boat, it's important to have some key tools on the boat that you will always have access to when you need them.
Yeah, the basic ones. You need wrenches, socket wrenches and box wrenches, those kind. And then you need vice grips for everything else that doesn't fit the wrench. And then screwdrivers, Torx drivers, and Allen keys.
It's always nice to have a mallet.
Oh, yeah, big hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff breaks.
Yeah.
And, yeah, an axe is also handy. We had an axe.
Mm.
Yeah. There were times, this sounds ridiculous, but there's times where you shove that axe in there and then pound it with a hammer and it'll split stuff apart. You're not using it to chop wood, you're using it to break, seize stuff open. And lastly, boats and hoes go together. So carry a hoe, because it's excellent for scraping barnacles off the bottom of your boat from your dinghy. You don't have to get wet, so if you're in water that doesn't look like something you want to go swimming in, just put that hoe down there and scrape up. And you'll feel the barnacles go chipping off. And when it stops chipping, go to another part. It's not going to do as good a job as if you dove down there and could see what you're doing, but you didn't have to get wet in the process.
How to provision is going to completely depend on where you're going and how far you're going. Provisioning for an ocean crossing is something that we have made videos on, and you can access that here. But provisioning for smaller crossings is something that you will probably learn how to do along the way. The important thing to remember, key points, are that vegetables tend to last about 5 to 7 days.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, and fruits as well. Research which fruits and vegetables you can store together, because some fruits, if you store them together, they will go rotten faster. If you have access to a freezer, it's great to be able to bring meats and things that you can keep for longer periods of time when you're ready to eat them.
And then for really long term, dry grains and beans. So canned beans and rice.
And pasta.
And pasta. You can make so many meals out of that. And our favorite, Spam.
Spam is fantastic. You'll find that you can get very, very creative with Spam.
Yes.
You can also get creative with canned vegetables and canned meats, which sound really gross, but when you've been at sea for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, they start to look mighty tasty.
Mm-hmm. Some canned corn right here. Mm-hmm.
Something that people don't often think about before they go cruising and then they wish they had is how to manage trash.
So while you're on shore and have access to a dumpster, it's so easy to just take the packaging off the thing and put it in the trash. And then someone else comes and picks up the trash and takes it away for you. And it disappears magically. But on a boat, it stays forever.
Yeah, you'll find that when you're doing longer passages, especially if you're cruising full time, you will not always have access to a trash can. Therefore, it becomes really important to manage your trash. And this starts at the very beginning when you are first buying your provisions. It's best if you buy things that come in glass or that come in small packages. And what you can do is carry a lot of mason jars. So if you're getting these like big packages of pasta and so on, you can then pour the pasta into a mason jar, store it that way, and then get rid of the trash ahead of time.
Yes, while you're on shore, you can throw out all the packaging, but then you have all of your stuff stored in nice handy mason jars. And the nice thing about storing grains and stuff in mason jars is when you get weevils, not if, when, they will infest, hopefully, just one jar. And they'll be having a party in there. And you don't eat that one. You eat the other one that doesn't have weevils. Now, if you're on a really long passage and you're going to need that jar, what you do is you put it in the freezer. The weevils die, and then later when you eat it, you had protein-enriched
Okay, that's
pasta.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
No, we did not do that.
We didn't have to, but that's what you do with the weevils. You
Ew.
freeze them, and then you eat them.
Ugh, that's disgusting.
So gross. Yep, but it's a thing.
A little pro tip about when you're provisioning too is that if you want to get eggs from a local farmer because those eggs have never been refrigerated. Therefore, you don't have to refrigerate them, and they can actually last about 30 days. They can last a month.
Yeah, it's never refrigerated and never washed. You want them with their cuticle on them.
So that's a really great way to have eggs for your entire passage. The next thing that you need to worry about before you go cruising is making sure you have a really proficient bilge pump.
You want to be able to get that water out when it comes in. All of these things are not ifs, they're whens.
Just assume.
At some point, bad things will happen. And if you're prepared, good things come as a result. If you're not prepared, it's a wreck.
So it's really important to have a really good bilge pump, but also a manual backup, because you never know if your electronics are all going to die.
Yeah, say the boat fills up with water so fast that your batteries get submerged. And now your batteries are underwater and the power cuts off, so guess what your bilge pump just did? Good night. Sayonara. So you want to have a manual one that you can pump the water out as fast and furiously as you can possibly do.
We have an Edson bilge pump, and it is known for being wonderful and fast and efficient, and we have had to use it. So.
Many times. Yeah. Little things can become big things real fast, and then you find yourself pumping really fast. So the Edson bilge pump that we have pumps 1 gallon per stroke, and it's got a really long arm. So how fast does it pump depends on how scared you are.
Preparing for the worst is something that you're going to be doing a lot of, and it's not fun to think about all the bad things that could happen, but it's so important to do so. One of the bad things that can happen is you can get really sick. You never know if you're going to get a horrible gash in your arm and have to suture it up, or if you're going to get terrible infection and need to treat it. So make sure that you have a really good first aid kit that you know how to use. We have a video on how to suture. We also have a video called Floating Pharmacy that is all of the medications that we recommend bringing.
Yes, and I'm a dentist. The stuff on antibiotics and painkillers and all those things, like, I actually prescribe these to people. I know what I'm talking about when I talk about them in the video.
So, on to a more palatable topic, and that is clothing. What clothes do you need to bring? Well, if you are our complexions, it is really important to make sure that you bring some SPF protection because it will get sunny out there and the sun will bounce off that water and
fry you.
Yes. So we always wore really nice long sleeve SPF protection shirts.
And Total Boat has some really stylish SPF shirts.
They do.
Yes. In the pants department, you can double duty here. Pajama pants are incredibly comfortable. They keep the sun off. And they're your pajamas for later.
Oh my gosh.
Then you don't need to pack sleeping pants and daytime pants.
This one loves to sail in pajama pants.
Yeah. All of our videos.
But I recommend some nice moisture wicking pants that are not flannel.
They don't have to be flannel. Pajama pants come in all different weights. You have lightweight pants.
Okay.
You have heavyweight pants. It's great.
So one thing to consider when figuring out your wardrobe for cruising full time is you don't want to overstuff your lockers. Everything in sailing is about saving space. And so pack what you need and then take like 10 items of clothing out of each locker because you're not going to wear them. When you're actually out there, you're going to be wearing the same t-shirt almost every day. That's the reality. The other reality is that you are not going to need that really pretty dress or that nice button-up shirt, button down, button up.
Clothing. Fancy clothing.
But you don't want to bring fancy clothing because all that rocking that the boat is doing constantly throughout cruising is making your clothes shift ever so slightly over and over and over again, rubbing against each other, and they're going to get chafed, they're going to get holes, and they're also going to get mildewy. So I made the mistake of bringing some really nice pretty dresses that I loved, and they were completely destroyed by the end of our trip. And I also never wore them.
So we're going to do some fun math right here. So in 24 hours, so a full day, there's 86,400 seconds, I believe. And the average wave period on the ocean is 4 seconds. So that means that your clothing will chafe and slide side to side 21,000 times per day. Every day.
So think about that when you're packing your very favorite shirt or dress.
Yeah, pretty much take all the clothing that you don't want to ever have again because it's going to get destroyed. And if the chafing doesn't destroy it, the sun will. You're wearing it. Like I had shirts that the backs of them and the shoulders just fell apart. But down here was fine because my arms were down and they didn't get sunburnt and eaten. Literally, like your clothes will die.
Yeah, so think about that when you are packing your clothes and getting all of your lockers ready to go cruising. That covers all of the basics of what you need to do to prepare to go cruising. But for most people, the hardest part is actually just leaving.
Yeah, everyone thinks, oh, I need to do this one more project in order to get the boat ready to go. But the truth is, if it's floating, it's got a rudder, and it's got rigging and sails, it's ready to go.
You're never going to be completely ready to go in your head or physically on the boat. Something will always need fixing. You'll be able to fix it while you're underway.
Yeah, think about it. The harbor and the port that you're in that's got all the mechanics and all the chandleries that you need to fix your boat, guess what? The next harbor does too. So all you need to do is get going. So what we like to do is just leave. Go anchor, like whatever, just get going.
Start small, just push off the dock. You don't have to think, okay, here we go. Destination, Europe.
Yeah,
it's like maybe you want to go to Europe eventually, but for now, destination, the next creek over. So that sounds a lot less intimidating, right? If you're just going one creek over to start with. What we did is we went to a creek nearby and we dropped anchor and we stayed there for a couple weeks while we prepared to do a much larger passage. But the big part was just shoving off our home port dock. It's a really scary and daunting thing to have such a lifestyle change, even if you're just deciding we're gonna do this for the next 6 months. For us, it was gonna be 9 months and it ended up being 5 years. So the important thing is just to leave, and the beauty and magic of sailing is that you don't have to plan ahead too much. You can literally just plan for your next port. That being said, planning for your next port is really important. You should make sure that you're going at the correct time of year and do all the research so that it's the safest passage possible.
We have an entire video about passage planning, and it'll go over how to choose your weather windows, how to choose which route to go, what time of year to go, all these things. That way you can then go when it's safest. And another easy way to find out when is it good to go is talk to other sailors in the area.
Local knowledge.
Yeah, local knowledge. And especially if your first hop is a short hop, everyone knows how to get to that harbor right over there. Not everyone knows how to get across the ocean. And make your long journey just a series of small hops that you're going to take from here to there until you're ready to do something bigger, that you've now built up the confidence and you've built up a better system for understanding the weather around you.
And your own boat. So hopefully this has provided you with a little bit of a checklist and some starting off points so that you aren't feeling so daunted about beginning your life as a full-time cruiser or a part-time cruiser. In the comment section, please do let us know if there are any other important things that we missed so that everybody can be well informed and people can use the comment section as kind of an extension to this video.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this episode of Sailing Wisdom. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next Rigging Doctor episode. And if you're interested in even more Rigging Doctor awesomeness, consider becoming a patron to see all of our extras. Can't wait to see you next time as you join us out here on the high seas.